I'm excited. You got notes.
It's not a note. It's a I found a Butler poem that I wrote a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, this is fun.
That is fun. Well, do we get to that now, or do you want to get to that later?
Do you want to hear it?
Let's go for it.
Okay, cool.
For anything, let's start off with it.
Okay.
You got yourself a Butler poem right there.
I do.
What's going on here?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I don't even remember if I think this was downtime on a ship. Because this is like, you know, your supervisor's kit, you're like, I need tape, pins, paper, pen.
I do remember.
So I think this was like yeah, definitely. Because it's like type of event/occasion.
Okay.
Menu, rental. Okay. So yeah, I think this was just like in my bag at one point. And then I usually throw these out when I'm done with them. But I think it was such gold that I kept it.
Well, you got my interest.
What have you been doing the last few months? I've been cleaning everything.
All right.
And I found this.
Let's go with the poem. Let's go with it. I'm excited. I'm sure anybody who's watching is excited.
It's like a poem/rap.
All right. See, now you're just taking it to the next level. Let's go.
Let's do this. Oh, I don't remember the rhyming scheme, but I think it's like, I pass hors d'oeuvres like a mad hatter, come back to the kitchen with an empty platter. I'm a king at teardown, something you read about in fables. Fucking kill those chairs, stools, and 8-foot tables. I pass red and white wine and sparkling water. Bridget stole from the rum, but the office caught her. Don't. Weddings are the best, what can I say? It's easy to tell when the groom is gay. We've all been there. Forks are on the left, knives are on the right. I always get those place settings so tight. I'm on bar, but they didn't run an ice bucket. Hal says figure it out, but I say fuck it. Oh, shout out to Hal. Oh shit, looks like we're short 4 or 5 linen. I guess I don't have to do that much pinning. I have a 12-hour at the AGO. I hope I can last. All they give me is lentils, so I give them gas. It's fact. Love you, AGO. I've been too busy to eat. I'm getting bony. Or maybe I'm just avoiding the food at Sony.
Ooh.
We're understaffed, it's kosher, and I'm full of fear, but no worries because Christine Myers is here.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. The supervisor's doing nothing but making us work, but gets to eat first. What a jerk. I'm in dish because I came in black bistro instead of white. Put a napkin in my Ranix and I'll start a fight. I just met Ashanti and she's touching my hiney. Christian's so funny and Simon's so tiny. Past the expected end time, I can almost see the moon. Renard's getting cranky. Helena's gonna die soon.
Oh, no!
That was donated by Bobby Bennett? No.
Oh, what a great way to fucking start it, brother. I loved that. That was that was a great time.
Yeah, I came for between 5 to 8 people.
So when was this?
I have no idea. This was heyday.
Like,
definitely.
did you just meet Ashanti at the time? Was it like that, or was it like
no?
Was it
was just like a general observation.
Okay.
She has a thing with boundary issues.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was that was awesome. Let's jump right into Butler right off the bat.
Oh.
You know, after having this wonderful poem to start with, we can jump into talking a little bit about that or not. Let's get back to that later. Fuck it. Alright, so go on. Time with the family, being at home, siblings, relationship with the parents. What was life like at home?
It was great. You know, we actually did live in my grandmother's basement.
Okay.
My parents bought a business when me and my sister were like really little. It was like a flower shop.
Okay.
And when they bought it, they didn't realize that it was pending in lawsuits and there was a lot of stuff going on. So they ended up losing the business. And my grandmother took us in and we lived in her basement.
Okay.
And after she passed away, she left the house half to my dad and half to his brother. They sold it and then we were able to like finally get our own home and get going.
Okay.
When that happened, the movers that we chose to move with were not a name brand mover. They stole our furniture.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Like, so like your entire, I assume the whole freaking load or whatever.
So much stuff.
Oh no.
We had like a gap between the time that we sold my grandmother's house and then we moved into our new house.
Okay.
And during that time, we decided to go on like a little trip.
Yeah.
And when we got back to Toronto, we were going to move into the house the night before. They called my parents and they were like, if you don't give us $15,000, you're not getting your furniture.
Oh.
We got, so they went with a check, which was all they had, and they gave them the money, like not all of it, because obviously we couldn't afford that at the time. They gave them what they could afford, and the next day we got about maybe a third of our stuff.
Fucking hell.
And then we immediately like went to the cops. They're like, there's nothing really we can do. The laws are so against you when you're moving. The second a company has all your stuff on a truck, you kind of have like no rights.
Holy shit, man. Holy shit. I've heard of horror stories with moving companies taking 1 or 2 items here and there, but like ransom and all that shit. Fuck. Yeah. Well, once you got past that, initial start with moving in to a new place, I mean, when did the good times start happening?
Okay, well, this is where it links.
Okay.
So the company that we moved with is called Three Small Men.
Okay.
And there was actually a reputable company out there called Two Small Men with Big Hearts Moving.
Okay.
And this company kind of ripped on them.
Yeah.
So they used the name, and that's what my parents thought was like familiar in the name.
Okay.
But this company was just some space, a couple trucks, and a cell phone. And that was it.
Yeah.
So we found the actual company, and my dad thought this was the one that ripped us off, and he contacted them, and the owner was like, "No, this is not us.
Yeah.
We're in litigation with the guy. He's stealing our name."
Okay, so there was some sort of at least acknowledgement of who these fuckers were.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
He gave my dad a truck and some guys to go to the place, and we did get some of our furniture back before the owner came, and they kicked them off. But we got more of it back.
Yeah.
Then the guy was so friendly. He started talking to my parents. He ended up giving them a franchise. So that's why my parents own a moving company now. It was they did get a franchise from that, but then eventually broke off and created their own company. So that's why they've been in the moving business now for about, I would say, 15 years or so, 16 years.
That's a great twist to that story.
I
love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you wait for people about to cry and then bring them up.
And bring them up. You know what? That was I thoroughly enjoyed that roller coaster of emotions right there. With that sort of initial start and going from there, that was a lot. I mean, I would assume that didn't just happen overnight. It was a long process of going through that or whatnot. How long would it last?
We were in litigation and we were constantly going to the cops and stuff, and they felt terrible because me and my sister were so young at the time, and we lost all of our stuff. I remember the night we moved in, I was looking around like, well, at least I have my mattress, because my parents were sleeping on the ground. Yeah. They didn't get their bed.
Fuck.
So
yeah, that's
even the worst thing was like, my sister was brought up by my grandmother pretty much, and she watched her all the time get ready in the mirror with her hairbrush and like her like makeup set. It was all this like gold stuff, and like she always just wanted to be, you look up to someone and then you see yourself in that way. And when my grandmother passed away, she specifically put in her will that all that stuff went to my sister. Gone.
Dude, all the little just the things that wouldn't matter to anyone else other than your family, and that's that's the next level.
You know how it is. Like things don't have much monetary value, but to you, like it means more than the world.
Oh yeah, I completely understand. I got a couple of things like to keep here and there that have that sort of thing to me, and the idea of being at such a young age and having something taken. I mean, this house that we're in right now, was my great grandmother's.
Oh, wow.
When we had trouble at a young age, we moved in with my great grandmother. When she passed away, it was like, so I understand from there. The idea of
I love that
of losing
for you guys.
Yeah, but the idea of losing certain possessions of hers, unfortunately that did happen due to me. House parties, there's a couple of times where things got stolen, and I take the guilt and from that. But the idea of having things like that just taken by a fucking moving company out of your hands, something that you didn't do wrong, something that's completely just not your fault, and
once a company takes all your stuff and puts it on their truck, your rights are gone. Yeah. You really have to pick someone that you find comforting and listen to word of mouth referrals and stuff.
You know what? I this was, when was this? Was this back in?
Oh my gosh. I would say 2001.
Okay, so back then, it's I'm sure there was some stuff you could check on, but it was phone books and websites or whatever recommendations were around back then.
Yeah.
Today, hopefully for people, there's a little bit easier way to vet it out. At the same time, anyone
Google reviews.
Desperate.
Google reviews.
Google reviews, exactly. I mean, I know, and that's the thing. It's the only people who get hurt in a situation like this now would be the ones who don't go down the road, who are naive enough, and that's just unfortunate. But back then, I remember hearing trouble about moving companies when I first had to move, and my mom would be like, "Watch out! You got to get someone this," because she had heard stories as well, but. Getting the whole ransom thing and shit, man, that's just fucking next level fucked. Yeah.
They showed up and these people, they had gigantic pit bulls and Dobermans, and they were just very threatening. Mm. And my parents were older already. My mom had her her MS, so she wasn't in good health. My dad can barely walk some days, so they're like, what are we gonna do here? And I have no idea why they went on their own. I think they were just so scared. They'd never been in that situation.
Yeah. Ugh. Wow. Well, when this went down, you were at a young age, and having all your things taken away. What was that like being a kid? And did you lose all your toys and all like that stuff too?
I was pretty lucky. I retained most of my stuff.
Okay.
It was my sister did lose a lot of her stuff.
Okay. Yeah. And the family values and stuff like that.
In the end, we only ended up with like 2/3 of our stuff back. So. Fuck. But you know what? It's so weird because of that situation, my parents got into the moving business. They ended up making more money than they ever did with anything else they'd ever done.
Okay, so
my mom had driven cabs. She sold cars.
Yeah.
My dad had done. He worked as a trucker. He worked shoppers. Like they did so many different things. Yeah. But this was the best.
I love that. I respect that.
I'll respect any job.
Yeah.
When my grandmother came to Canada from Hungary, she was scrubbing toilets.
Okay.
That's why I try to be very respectful of everyone.
Yeah.
Like when we work at the ROM and stuff, like the custodians.
Yeah.
I try to learn everyone's name.
Yeah.
Just, what I mean?
You never
it's
give
like
someone a job to do that you wouldn't do yourself. That's how I felt about it.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's the thing. If you gotta clean the toilets and the clothes gotta get done, if I'm busy and gotta do something else, I'll do it. I won't just pass something on to someone because it's like, I don't want to do that. You should do it. It's more so just like, I got things to do, delegate that way. But in general, the idea of just like mistreating people for being of lower class and that, I didn't grow up with it so much in my, youth, family, whatever. But as I got older and got into the hospitality industry, yeah. Growing up with siblings, having yourself a sister.
Yeah.
How was that?
Terrible.
I know nothing of having a sister. I know of having a little brother, but the idea of growing up with your sister, what was it like? It was terrible.
Your brother's great. Like you guys, I've never seen you guys fight. You're always on the same page.
It's because
you
he's
say
a great
something,
person.
he listens to you.
No, what's funny is that maybe in a job scenario where I knew what I'm doing, and in a situation where I know what I'm doing, he'll listen to me. But as we've lived together now, I learn so much from him, and have absolutely garnered an absolute level of respect and admiration for how he handles himself in any situation in life, whether it be, confrontation. He's never very confrontational. He doesn't lose his temper. The way he's open to any sort of subject matter, seeing all sides at all times. I love my brother. You hate your sister. Let's talk about this. No, I'm joking. Go on.
Yeah, let's get right into it.
I don't know your sister. I haven't met her, but I would like you to, tell me a little about her. How's that going on?
She's a little bit older than me. She still lives at home. That's like more of a... It's a traditional thing. In the Jewish religion, the children generally don't move out.
Okay.
They were shocked when I moved out. I was 24.
Okay.
Which in the real world is pretty normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my friends were moving out. I'm like, I think I should too. I want to for my sanity. It might be beneficial.
That's definitely one thing that I remember at the beginning was for my sanity this should happen.
Yeah, but for Jewish women, generally doesn't, especially if they're single, they stay at home.
Okay.
My uncle actually never married. He lived with my grandfather until my grandfather passed away.
Okay.
And that was quite a while ago, but he was still in his late 40s.
Yeah.
When my grandfather passed away. He never would have moved out.
Never would have moved out.
If my grandfather was still alive, he'd still be with him.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That sort of situation there, I can understand in in a way of old school family closeness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, being with your background, being Jewish and such, was there a strong heritage in the household growing up?
We started that way, and then my mom just kind of fell off a little bit. Her side was very religious. My grandfather and my grandmother had a bit of a different opinion on religion and God. Okay. My grandmother was in the concentration camps.
Okay.
And after that, she lost a little bit of faith. She was like, if there's a higher power, why did I go through that?
Understandable. Go on, yeah.
But my grandfather was super religious. He was Orthodox. He was almost a rabbi.
Okay.
So there was a bit of a difference there. And then they lived at Lawrence and Bathurst, which is, you go for the Jewish holidays and on the bus you see 7 other butlers and they're each going to different homes.
Yes. I do remember that actually.
Super Jewish area. Okay. Yeah. But all my mom's neighbors were Orthodox. Okay. So all of her friends, everyone she hung out with. So she kind of really did... she was brought up Orthodox. Okay. So she wanted to instill that in us. But, by 3 or 4 already, she was like, I miss bacon. So we're going to swap.
Good old bacon. All right. So, having that initial, religion and such like that in the house, did it last with you? Are you religious to this day still? Are you spiritual?
No. I hated Hebrew school.
Okay.
They put us in that until we were 12, 13, and I had my bar mitzvah, and I couldn't stand it. We weren't learning anything. It was just like propaganda.
All right. Fair way to put it. I mean, I don't know from my personal experience, but the idea of it kind of being pushed on you that way.
Yeah.
Okay. As you grew up and decided to not follow that, was there any moments in your life where you became spiritual and perhaps decided to, look into other ways or other things that maybe made you express your spirituality, perhaps?
I am a very spiritual person, but I believe in like I do my own thing.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not sure if there's anything out there that really works for me or that I really align myself with.
Yeah, I like that completely. I like that a lot.
Judaism is a great religion. Unfortunately, I don't agree with every aspect of it.
Fair.
I try to stick with it because my parents are still with us, and if I turn my back on it, it would really upset them.
Okay.
So I try to do as much as I can for them, but in that sense, I still don't want to look like a hypocrite. So anything that I don't agree with, I just don't do. You take little bits of everything. Yeah.
You know what? Let's go to wrestling. I haven't talked to anyone about wrestling. Have you been a fan of wrestling as a kid growing up? Is it just kind of a joke thing to you? Have you enjoyed it?
It was such a weird thing how it started because when I first started watching it, it was like the aggression era.
Yeah.
But like very, very sparsely. I wasn't addicted to it. And then I just liked the characters.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a soap opera.
Thank you. Okay, I grew up watching Y&R with my great-grandmother.
Dallas.
Started watching wrestling. It was like, if you watched Y&R, they had like Victor Newman. WWF had like Vince McMahon, and that's where I put the connection initially as a kid. I was like, oh, this reminded me of watching, with my grandmother. And I had these friends who hated it, and then I had a couple friends who kind of liked it. And I was always, in between whatever. So I was like, I'm going to give it a try, see what's going on. I watched it before that era, in like the Attitude Era. I didn't really watch it during the Aggression Era, which I think would be like the 2000s or whatnot. But like, have you watched it recently? Have you still watched it from time to time?
Okay, so I've had nothing to do.
Okay.
So the second that lockdown started, I was like, everyone's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch all seasons of Drag Race and every single Royal Rumble in succession.
Oh, I've been down that road, and that is a fun road to go down.
Royal Rumble is the best pay-per-view when every time I have a gay person over, I show them a Rumble like in my PVR, because I have them all recorded from the last 3 years.
Amazing.
And they are hooked. And I'm like, I've got a gay person hooked on wrestling.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It is. I think that is the best first wrestling experience to show somebody. Like, I'll have all these buddies when I think about it.
No, it sets it too high.
Okay, no, but that's the thing. That's the thing, is that it gets them in. And then they're like, oh, that last one I watched, though, wasn't that good. But like, don't worry, it gets good again. And then you suck them in to continue watching it. Growing up with, a little wrestling, this and that, did you ever have, like, live experiences with it? Did you go down there?
I've gone to a couple live shows.
You have gone. Okay, so the live experience for you, how was that?
Crazy.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
I fucking hated it as a kid.
I hate it because
no commentary. I didn't have any commentary. I'm sitting there in the crowd with these like dudes who are just like drinking. I'm like, I don't know, 10 or whatever, and just kind of like and I'm waiting, and there's matches, and there's dark matches, and there's time where the cameras aren't going. I'm like, oh, this is a commercial time, I guess.
I do not need commentary. I am the commentary.
Okay. I like that.
No, seriously. Even like when I watch live, I'll say something and then they say it. Even with like football, though, I should be a commentator. That's what I was born to do. I don't know why I'm not in that business. I don't understand.
You know what?
I know what's going to happen. Put up a match and I will give you the commentary.
Okay, you know what? The thing is that I have an idea of wanting to do a couple of different like wrestling podcasts.
Never before have we seen Lesnar manhandled like this.
Okay, you know what? This is going down.
That's all they say.
You obviously will be having another one of these in the future, but now we're going to be having another one specifically about wrestling, and that is something I look forward to.
Yeah.
In the meantime, back to sports and such. During this time lockdown, watching sports or in general, let's say just fucking entertainment.
Let's say wrestling, yeah.
So let's say entertainment in general.
Let's talk about wrestling for a little bit.
You know what? You want to bring it back to wrestling? We can bring it back to wrestling. I can talk all day.
Do you know what I really like now is that the women are like actual wrestlers. They're not just like fitness models that have been coaxed into wrestling.
It's the women's division is like one thing that I watched. Like when I got into this other company, TNA or whatnot. I liked their women's wrestling. Like they had like this woman, Gail Kim, who's from Toronto.
She was WWE
she was both,
and then TNA and then WWE.
But she was fucking awesome. She was one of the first people where I was like, this person goes. You know what I mean? And then like they also had like ODB. Old dirty bitch, who's this big biker chick who just freaking knocked down people, and I was like, that's a great character. So like when that wrestling with women happened like that, going back to watching any sort of other shit where they're just doing this horrible fucking like exploitive whatever, just terrible television for now, but back then totally banging what people wanted to see.
90% of female wrestlers finishers are either a super kick or a face buster.
Back then, it was so funny that you say that because the first thing that came to mind, I just thought of the face buster from
Face
like
buster.
Kelly or something like that.
Tori Wilson.
Hey, Tori
the Bellas, a Bella Buster, same move.
You're so right. You're so right.
The X Factor, that's Lana.
You're so right.
It's too much.
I
need
so
to go outside.
You know what? No. With the name dropping, you know what's going on. So then, are you watching the current product?
Yeah.
But here, this is my big question. Let me just
never more than ever have I been. Okay, no. There was a time when I was younger where like, do you remember SmackDown was not live and it was taped?
Yeah.
So it was
on Tuesdays and that was on
Thursdays.
shown on Fridays or whatever, or
Fridays.
Thursdays. Yeah.
I would go online and read the spoilers. Like, that was
my
too
God.
much. And then I would still watch it because my parents are like, "You're watching another one?" I was like, "Yeah, well, I don't know what happened." So I full on lied to them, but I knew everything.
Oh, that's great. I will admit that I do now. I'll watch it and then I'll watch my favorite guy online talk about it afterwards to see what he thought about
Stop.
it.
I do that too. Is it the WrestleMania thing? Or?
It's no, this guy is Simon Miller.
Simon Miller.
I love Simon Miller. All right,
I love him.
I follow him.
He's so jacked. He's my husband.
His shit. I follow Simon Miller for everything.
They delete
Simon
my
Miller,
comments
I love you.
because my comments on everything are so thirsty.
Okay.
But he's just like, he's so jacked and beautiful, but also hilarious.
Hilarious.
And he's so right.
And he seems like a sweet, nice guy as well. You know,
The most
when you
wonderful.
watch his
Did you watch him in the ring before?
No, okay, I've only seen clips. I haven't watched a full match.
Some
or
guy
anything
went
like
actual ham on him and
Really?
was throwing, what's it called when a worked punch? Is that
a
what
potato punch? I think is
like a real punch?
A real punch. You know what?
Like
as
Brock
a wrestling fan-
Lesnar and Randy Orton at that SummerSlam thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there's a work where it's
Stiff
fake.
punch.
A stiff punch, yeah. Stiff.
That's what he
There you
did
go.
to him, and he split his head open. Simon Miller's head.
Oh yeah.
I'll send you the clip. It is heartbreaking.
Dude, send it
because
to me.
I just love Simon
My
Miller.
brother and I got into his initially got into his wrestling, but we got into his fitness channel and stuff like that as well. And just he's a great guy, and him showing his love for other people that I love. It's just it's weird. It's the first time I've had that online sort of thing where I like someone as almost like a friend without knowing them.
Yeah, but
because
he's got that vibe.
Yeah, but I didn't feel that way about necessarily watching podcasts or stuff like that. I never really
Kyle,
got that feeling.
I agree with you so much.
With him,
That
it's
gets
just
enough.
there we go. I love it. All right, we're gonna wrap up the rest of the talk with something like
God.
this, though. Okay, AEW.
Oh, I have no interest whatsoever.
Go fuck yourself.
Not interested.
What the fuck?
You know why? Either when it does become a thing, I'll go back and watch everything from the start. But I've never been one to
It's a thing.
bandwagon jump.
It's not a bandwagon.
It's all ex WWE.
No, it's not.
There's even even if you look at the
Young
the
Bucks,
producers and
Kenny
stuff.
Omega.
I don't know these people.
Oh,
But I know that Jericho held the
Hangman Adam
title.
Page.
Ambrose held the title.
Ambrose is incredible there now. This John Moxley character is everything that he should have been there. When you look at someone like Cody Rhodes going there and becoming it's all these
Cody
people.
Rhodes, but these are ex. You know what I mean? These people.
okay,
Well,
okay.
In all fairness, they did not really have a chance to be what they could be in the WWE.
That's fair because Vince McMahon and his whole whatever. But
Ambrose at least had a shot.
he was given the stupidest storylines towards the end when he was
bad. Yeah, they buried him.
Dude, that was when he had a plant at one point. Did he have a plant or no? Was that? Did Ambrose have?
I was like, why is he getting a needle in his ass? It was such a
needle,
stupid storyline.
and then when he did that podcast afterwards, talking about all the shit that was brought up that you didn't see him do, and you're just like, wow. So when people leave the WWE now, they'll do a podcast, they'll do what they call a shoot interview, and they'll talk shit about whatever the hell was going on behind the scenes. And there were some horrible things that Vince McMahon wanted him to do. And as a fan of wrestling, I'm sure you've known and kind of loved the absolute terrible things that Vince McMahon makes people do.
But he's nobody ever in the history world has 100% of their or ideas come to fruition or be successful.
Fair.
Look at New Day. Who the hell thought New Day would ever be successful?
I am so angry that they've been split up now.
3 happy gospel
It wasn't started as that though. The first clip was more gospel, and they weren't necessarily going to be happy people initially. They were going to be bad guys initially, and then no, that's not us.
Who thought that would translate to what it has today?
Well, the sexual gyrating multicolored, fantastic. I fucking love them. And now that's the Big E's going single, they will get fantastic. Now back to the fact that you hate AEW.
Big E though.
No, Big E's great, but back to the fact that you hate AEW.
I don't hate it. I just haven't given it a chance.
Okay, you know what? You're right, and I'm being too harsh on you for not having given it a chance yet. I would 100% recommend to give it a chance.
I will. If you feel this strongly about it, I have.
The problem is that Like, it's one of those things where you want to go back and start, because for the first time in ages, like, the way shit's been going on with, you know, this modern wrestling over the past however many years, it's been, like, you know, pretty shite with WWE. And then, like, they'd have, like, these glimmers of, like, awesomeness. But every time you liked somebody, it was taken away from you. Like, the shit that happened with, like, The Fiend and Goldberg, or fucking Kevin Owens.
I don't want to.
All that
I don't
shit.
even want to talk.
Okay,
about Goldberg.
and listen, I loved Goldberg as a kid. For some reason, I hate that dude now.
Because
I mean, I love him as a person. Like him as a person. Don't like him as a wrestling character who apparently wants to, you know, be this superhero guy. And
you need to know when to retire. He's like the Dan Marino of wrestling.
but that's the thing, though. As a person, I like him, and I like him at the fact that he's like, you know, he's still in dope shape and shit.
Oh, great! But then he gets in the ring, and you're like, "What's
They
happening?"
almost killed the Undertaker, and then the Undertaker almost killed
But
him.
didn't he get a concussion in that match?
They both got fucked up. They both fucked up in that match, and they both got fucked up.
But Goldberg got a concussion, and then he dropped the Undertaker or something. And
Yo,
then the
fucking
Undertaker
Goldberg
was
ended
missed.
Bret Hart's career, though. So when it comes to concussions and shit like that, there's some karma's come back your fucking way.
But Bret Hart is not. You know how people are like, "Oh well, mistakes happen."
Yes.
Like, when Austin dropped,
He forgave
By Owen
Hart, absolutely, but that was understandable.
that was understandable.
Goldberg was notorious for being a fucking, you know.
And that's what Hart says, and he still says he never reneged
just
on
said
that.
something again like last week. I know. Eh?
I'm not surprised. I'm really
I
not
love that.
surprised.
I love that shit though. And the thing is that when it came to, like, you know, finally,
But that's probably why Goldberg was the only successful WCW product in WCW, was because people were like, this guy's reckless and anything could happen, because he was reckless and anything could happen.
that's the thing, is that watching him, you got that vibe of like he was going to destroy who was in the ring. Not having been a fan of behind the scenes stuff then, I had no idea about, you know, work and fucking stiff punches and stuff like that. I didn't know anything about that shit, right? But like, looking back at it, I do remember just being like, yeah, this guy's a beast. He's gonna go through everybody. And me and my brother fucking loved that. But now, that idea of him coming back at this age isn't what bothers me. It's the fact that they're crushing other awesome, dope storylines, and
well,
people
some
who
wrestlers
don't need
come
to fucking
back
be losing to him.
and they still look good though. Like,
Yeah.
did you see Jarrett throwing punches at the Rumble?
Double J.
What about
I'm
MVP?
a big fan of Double J. Oh, and DDP. I got a picture of DDP when you walk up the stairs.
No, MVP.
Oh, MVP. Fuck MVP.
He's
not a fan.
not doing. Oh, I've never been like a fan of his character, but that's just
Not a fan
because
of his
he's
character.
really good at getting
He's
heat.
apparently a nice person. You know, good behind the scenes, this and that, sure. But
He's wrestling well. Look
not
at
a
Rey
fan of his character.
Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio is a fucking
How
legend.
old is he?
And he also is
He's
one of those guys who's
8,000.
heavy on like the HGH or something like that for a while. But he came back and he looked like he came back like natural almost, you could say, when he debuted and smaller back when he came. But there was a time there where like him, Eddie Guerrero, and those dudes, those little guys, just got like, and it was kind of hilarious.
It's dangerous.
It's fucking dangerous. Well, I mean, we don't go down any of those roads, but what happened. But like, yeah, there's countless stories of the effects of that and shit.
Yep.
Nowadays, you know, fucking with watching wrestling, to pivot back for a second to the modern shit. I mean, I still will watch Simon Miller tell me what happened on Raw.
10 minutes after I finished it.
But I haven't watched a Raw in ages. Roman Reigns going heel, I absolutely love. I've watched clips of that, but I haven't watched the full SmackDown because of it yet. And I haven't gone back to watching the full pay-per-view because of it yet. Drew McIntyre, show you my shirts. I fucking love Drew McIntyre. All right, I think he's fucking awesome. I still don't watch because of him. Because every time I watch and every time I've invested any sort of like time into it, it just gets like slapped in my face, it feels. Or the product's just kind of like, eh. Whereas with AEW, every week they're having fun. You see them all having fun with each other. Yeah. There's comedy, maybe there's some drama, but there's comedy, there's fucking, you know, action, wrestling, this and that, great storylines, great rivalries, like the way that people are interconnected with other storylines at the same time, and there's builds that have been going on for the past year, and stuff's coming, like, you know, like, that's the thing, like, it's just like, you are invested in as if, like, yeah, it's great, I love it, fully recommend it.
I love when that happens, and like things will catch up, like,
yeah,
what pisses me off more than anything is like, oh, the champion's in a feud with the heels. She needs a partner. Oh, let's bring out this babyface who she was in a feud with a year and a half ago.
Exactly.
Where's the fucking continuity?
That's the thing.
that happened.
I'm telling you, when you finally do take a chance to get into AEW, as you watch it and you start to, you know, look at that side of it, you're gonna fucking love it, brother. Gonna love it.
Just logically speaking,
I love this wrestling talk. I've done a handful of these now, and wrestling hasn't been brought up at all. And I think that's ridiculous that I didn't put it on my list of things to bring up with people because it's so fucking good. Let's go back to the youth, school.
Oh, I hate school.
Okay, so that's why I bring it up. We got both sides of that for people. People either hate it, they love it. It's never really in between. Do you want to talk about school?
I'm in between, to be honest with you, and I can explain why.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I felt like that I really started to understand the world when I was in school. So socially speaking and in terms of my own growth, I really did take off when I was in school.
Okay.
But no. I hate school itself.
School itself, the process, the way they taught you was more so less than the social. That was the thing they hated.
Depends. There's things that I like, things that I don't like. Assignments, fine, great, give them to me. Exams, tests, I'm going to freeze up. I'm going to be paralyzed.
Gotcha.
I just had to take an exam on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The first 20 minutes, I froze and I just stared at the questions.
Oh, you just gave me a freaking throwback to a memory of that. Just staring at the questions for that first thing and look at the time going, ah!
Yeah.
Oh, brother, man. Fuck.
It was a 3-hour exam, and I used the entire 3 hours just to stare at the question. No, I didn't. I answered 2 of 6. No, I did okay.
Okay, well, here, talking about school initially, the idea of not enjoying the school experience, the idea of it being the learning process, socializing, becoming your own person as you grew up, you enjoyed that aspect?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, when it came to going to post-secondary and choosing what you wanted to learn rather than having it forced upon you, did that change the school experience for you?
No.
Okay. All right.
You know what? It was great though. York has so many different clubs and social organizations that it was easy to find something that more pertains to you.
Okay.
Whereas like if you're in high school, it's like, oh, there's a basketball team or a track and field, but there's no like, I don't know, lacrosse team or like, so things don't get so specific and intricate that you can find an interest.
Okay. There's
Like-
not enough niche programs going on there as opposed to later where you're able to really find your niche there. And
My
if
high
not,
school-
create a program to be able to have a niche with as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My high school had like a gay straight alliance,
Okay.
which was like 2 guys who were in the closet and like,
All right.
a couple girls who just wanted to make out with other girls. And that was it. And then when I went to York, I joined this LGBTQ to, there's a lot of more letters now.
Go
And
on.
it was great. Like I met people, I was able to attend workshops, understand things. Like up until that point, I really didn't understand what it meant to be trans.
Okay.
It was at that point where I met my first trans person, and I took it upon myself to like learn more workshops and learn and just try to understand like what it meant.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the process of your, coming to Maine of who you are.
Yeah.
How was that process as a youth and growing up?
It was fine. It was pretty difficult. But that's what you put on yourself, right? You're always trapped in your own head.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Your own perspective is through your own eyes and not through the eyes of others. It's so obvious, and sometimes the things that are the easiest seem the most difficult. And you really just have to take a step and be open and honest with yourself and the people around you, your friends and family.
Beautiful. I like that. So for school, when you went to school for a certain subject, what was it? And did you go into that field afterwards?
No.
Yeah.
I went to university for an undecided major.
Okay.
And then when I got there, I took 3 years off after high school because I was like, I don't know what I wanted to do. After 3 years, I worked as a prep chef. I did. I was a assistant manager at a Hallmark store.
Okay.
I was like, I still don't know what the hell I want to do.
Okay. Fair. Yeah.
I went back to school and I just did undecided. And then through that, I was introduced to geography, and that kind of became my major just because it was so easy.
All right. Okay.
Like good grades are
was there
fun.
some love there for? I mean,
Yeah,
geography. I remember being fond of that in high school. I remember them like enjoying that. And how was it going there for post secondary? Such really dedicating to it more so.
It was great, but like after you take one course on, or even let's say after you take 2 or 3 courses on a portion of geography that you did find an interest in, it gets old.
That gets old. Okay.
Like, okay, well now this is my 2nd course on water.
Okay.
This is my 3rd course on the environment. Like, great. I'm so glad that I'm learning the same thing over and over again. Like, I will take this with me. It will be helpful for the future, but like, I don't want to learn about this anymore.
Gotcha. So afterwards, getting out of school, not going to your chosen field necessarily, we met through through hospitality.
Yeah, remember we were throwing knives?
It was,
Knives are my
however many years ago. But for yourself, what was your first taste of hospitality? When did you first dive into that?
McDonald's when I was in high school.
Okay. All right. Tell me about it. First experience working fast food. How was it?
I was an HUSTLER hustler from the start. Because when you're working at McDonald's, we had like a play place and we were able to have parties.
Okay.
The second I was like, I want to do the parties.
Okay.
Because I found out they got tips.
Ah.
And they were like, "Oh well, we let the girls do the
First
party."
days. All right. Oh no! Wait, what the fuck?
I know, but also it would the positions at McDonald's are actually very sexist.
Oh yeah.
Very sexist. So when girls and boys when people apply to McDonald's,
Okay.
If you're female, they'll push you to the cash register.
Yeah.
Or if you are not as great looking, they will push you into the kitchen. And then like the better looking males, they'll be like, you can do cash. So like I was on cash.
Yeah.
I was hired to do cash. And I was like, okay, this is cool.
Nice.
But I was in the kitchen mostly. I was like, it's not for me.
Fair enough.
Then when I wanted to do the birthday parties, it was great. And I wasn't the fastest at it.
Okay.
But boy, did I suck up to those suburban mothers.
All right.
And like people would make like $20. I was making $50-$100 per birthday party.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So that was your first taste there. Why'd you keep on coming back for more? Was it that first taste of the tips and such, or did you enjoy the experience of hospitality and such as well?
I think it's all encompassing.
Yeah.
I mean, the tips are it shows like if you try harder, the experience that you're going to give someone is better than what anyone else can give them.
Yeah.
And I knew that at that point. Like I knew the plates like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
I knew the menu like the back of my hand. I'm like, no one's going to give a better
Yeah.
presentation than me.
You got on lock.
And then when you get the money, you're like, okay, I did something good here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a reward system.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you're doing something for someone else. You're getting something out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, what's bad here?
Well, I think there's plenty of fucking bad there. I can't stand the hospitality industry anymore.
I love
I'm
it.
so happy I'm done with it. I also have an utmost love and admiration for my fellow coworkers throughout the years.
Yeah.
And anyone who enjoys doing it, I completely respect them enjoying that work. For myself personally, I just got tired of the people. I loved camaraderie and the team aspect,
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved going through a shit show with horrible people, but having a strong team to fuck around with and joke about these terrible people with. But after a while, being around those situations with whatever just started to get to me. And then after everything that went down, the idea of, when I was initially looking to get back into work, with that really not being an option anymore, I was like, oh, well, I kind of wanted this before all this happened anyways, so let's figure out something else. Let's talk more hospitality. Let's get a little more specific. Let's get into Butler now.
Well, I noticed that, like, what you were saying, like, things
okay.
get bullshit. Like, when we first started at Butler, like, we loved it.
Oh,
and then
fucking
when we
loved
started
it.
supervising and making our way up and then getting into, we're like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
You want to work during the slow season. How do you do that? You get up into the venues.
Yeah.
We start working the venues. We realized these are all political.
Yes.
And that's when we really started hating our lives.
Yes. Now, the thing is, like, if that was available today, if I were to go back to doing any sort of hospitality,
Yeah.
the idea of having fun with that crew of people again, if that crew of people was still there, and it was like going back to the ROM to do a Friday Night Live or something like that, I would absolutely do that. The idea of going back into the industry at a new company or something and going to do a random lawyer's office, freaking whatever. I
would do that.
No, see, for me, it's just the idea of like those people, just like not everyone's a nice person. I get that, and it's not their actions that's your matter; it's your reaction. But after a while, it's just like, how about you just don't put yourself in that situation anymore? You know what I mean? Like that was it for me. My personal experience with that. That being said, fuck man, like some good times were had.
Absolutely.
That's for damn sure. When you think about good times, do you have any specific stories you remember you want to share?
I can't talk about them because it's all like the best times for me were like involving like famous people.
Okay.
And I can't talk about like which celebrity I had to pour a shot of vodka in her mouth while she was getting tattooed on her wedding day. Like I can't do that. But yes, that did happen.
That's great.
And
that's great.
Weird shit like that.
You know what? Let's bring it back to comedy. Laughing at stuff though. Do you feel as though there's anything you shouldn't laugh at?
Shouldn't?
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely. And those are the things that we only show to the people that are also into dark humor.
Thank you. Okay, you got me scared for a second. I was like, I know, I hear what you're going from, but it's like this. If you go into a comedy club, I feel as though everything's on the table there. You've walked into the den. That's where people go to the line, right up to the line, and make a joke. Mm-hmm. And as that line changes every year, and comics are held accountable for what they used to say as opposed to what they're saying now, that whole cancel sort of thing, culture, we can talk about later. But context, coming from malice, reading the room, timing. I feel as though, for myself, and I've said it many times, maybe I'll just fucking whatever, but like the idea of going through hardship and stuff and someone making a joke about it, not necessarily knowing that you're going through that, in my personal opinion, I've enjoyed those moments to just laugh and go, yeah, it does suck to be going through that. I'm going through that. I'm just going to laugh about it. And it just makes you feel a little bit like, not like, I'm laughing at myself. This is never going to end. But more so it's like, why are you taking yourself so seriously right now?
Yeah.
Or why are you so concerned with this? And like, I'm not saying that everyone should feel that way. And to say that when someone's having a life-threatening disease, I don't know about that myself personally. But from other, stories, people have related to horrible jokes about disease, horrible jokes about, life experiences. And
well, here's one for you.
Okay.
So at my grandmother's funeral,
All right.
In the Jewish religion, you usually bury someone in a Jewish cemetery. And on the headstone, you make like a nice little message devoted to them.
Okay.
And my grandmother's was, about her life and her legacy. And at the end, it always says like, oh, she was a loving wife, a mother. And instead of saying grandmother, we called her by her nickname. So when we were younger, my sister couldn't say boogie, which is how you say grandmother in like Yiddish, Hebrew.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she said boogie.
Okay.
And my grandmother was like, oh, that's so different, maybe a little outlandish.
Okay.
I like it. I'm going to go with it.
All right.
So our whole lives, we called her Boogie.
Yeah.
And then when it came time for the rabbi to read the headstone, he said, to Ryan and Stephanie, a beloved Butchie. And he said her name wrong. And I thought it was so funny.
Okay.
So did my mom, my dad, and my sister.
Okay.
And we all just started laughing.
Yeah.
No one else. There's like maybe a small group of maximum like 20 people there, graveside at the funeral. Us four are laughing.
Oh, I love it.
And it was kind of like, cause it all happened so fast.
Yeah.
I remember my sister found her dead in her chair. That's what happened. The coroner came, they took her body away. Then we're just shopping for a headstone. We're shopping for this. We're setting up the funeral, arranging food. It seemed like the next couple of days were such a whirlwind because in the Jewish religion, you want to get the body in right away.
Okay.
And it just happened. And all of a sudden it was like, we were finally just released. After like 2-3 days of like, go. We just all, and everybody stared at us. They're like, why are they laughing? You know what I mean? It was more of a relief of, than anything else.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to death and the idea of thinking about, the end and what happens afterwards and all this and that, how do you feel about that?
Fine. I'm ready to go. Right. I feel like I've done some great things. I know that I feel great about myself. You know, growing up, I was like, I wonder if I'm ever going to do anything or help anyone. Yeah. I know that people who've been through a lot of tough times, and I was able to like pull through and like step up to a place where I didn't know that I was strong enough to help other people.
Okay.
And that's very rewarding. I remember I was trapped in like a hurricane in the Dominican a couple years ago.
Okay.
And everybody was like rushing around, freaking out when they were like, we're going to evacuate everyone and get you back as soon as possible. Yeah. We were supposed to be there for like a week or something, 5 days. I got evacuated after 2. And I was like, you know what? I'm not rushing. If this is my time, this is my time. Wow. Death and how much fun it is.
Okay, yes, that's where we were.
So you know how like I know you are a tongue biter, and that's why you don't like hospitality as much, is because there's a lot of times you wish you could say certain things and you don't. I've also seen you explode on people, so I know that you don't 100% keep it in. But I would say like a good number for you is 80% of the time you keep it in. I
think in a situation when you're working, you have to. You know what I mean? You can't just explode on everybody, or you won't last.
Dis-a-fucking-agree. I've lasted. Many have tried to cancel me. Many have failed. Okay. I'm one of those people who just like, I am professional in the right sense, but like if there's something that like, you know how they say, if you feel like you might not say something, don't say it. I'm like, actually, I might say this one.
Well, when it comes to the fellow workers,
today I will.
But like when it comes to the fellow workers and our fellow butlers and you know, especially when you had to like analyze your team and stuff like that I had no problem with. It was more so when I'm dealing with a client and this client is in control of where I am, and it's like this client is an absolute or the best, you know, a nice rich entitled fucking whatever walk of life who's like, do you know how much I've donated here? Give me more alcohol. And you're like, no, we've been closed for an hour. Yeah. Go get Jason. I do you know how much money I've given? That's when I bite my tongue. When it comes to one-on-one,
Jason's in the bathroom with a dick in his butt right now. He doesn't have the time.
When it comes
so we're done here. We're closing up, and where's my dip? Thank you so much.
But that's what I'm saying, though. It was more so about the clients I'd bite my tongue. When it came to other people, I was very straightforward, you know, and I've only lost my shit on a couple of clients. And in those situations, they deserve to have their shit lost.
It's not about losing your shit. I've certainly done it many times, but it's more about making a smart, witty, snide comment.
Okay, I love that. Yes.
But it releases a little bit. So even though you've got all this built up inside, being able to allow yourself to do certain things like that here and there prevent you from major blow-ups.
Okay.
Or hating yourself in general, which I learned very quickly to do in hospitality.
Okay.
So because I really don't hold back and I don't always utilize the filter, I'm able to like live with less regrets than most people.
Okay.
Just do what you fucking want to do.
I love that.
I meet someone, I'm like, you're really good looking.
Yeah.
Do you want to have sex with me? Like that's no, not.
He's straightforward to it.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, so let's talk about.
Do you smell that? Do you smell that?
I don't.
Oh, I guess it's just me who smells my boner. Do you want to do something about this? You know,
that's a new one. You know, that's do you smell butter?
Is your refrigerator ready?
I believe so. Yes.
Good, because I'm gonna suck your dick.
There we go.
There we
go.
Are great.
You got some moves.
Yeah. So you meet
got
guys.
some moves.
It's so easy.
All right. So being in the community.
Kyle, what is your sign?
My sign, I believe, is Libra.
Shut up. My psychic told me I was gonna sleep with a Libra today.
There we go.
You see what I mean? These are just like. They're good for it.
So what's the dating scene like in a modern dating scene now where there are access to so many apps and different ways of communicating?
It's all
there, right? Yeah. And especially now where there's not as much interaction with people, I would assume that it's blown up even further, right? Yeah.
Or you're going to a park late at night.
Okay, because I've never...
Cruising is back. Thank you, gays of the early 90s, late 80s. Thank you so much for setting the tone for us. We know what to do. Because cruising used to be like, you're walking, someone goes like this to you.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, and then you meet them behind the bush. And then that kind of went away with like, clubs became like better to go to, like gay neighborhoods became less dangerous.
Yeah.
And then the apps started.
Okay.
But now, once lockdown happened, it was like, guess we're fucking in the park again.
All right. I've never used any of the apps, but yourself having used them, what do you like about them? What don't you like about them?
They are...
Because you were dating before the apps, you know what I mean? So like the change and how it's changed the game.
A little, maybe just like a couple years.
I guess, I don't even know when the apps came out, I guess. For me, I feel as though the apps only came out recently, but I assume they've been out for ages, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess
because
not recently.
Even before the apps, they were like websites, like Craigslist. Like,
okay, yeah, stuff like that for sure, too. But I mean, like using, like, I've never used
What was before Craigslist?
What was before Craigslist?
The ads in the newspaper.
Newspaper ads.
When did the Pina Colada song come out? Remember that? Looking through the newspaper, you see an ad. If you like pina colada,
no, I don't remember that.
Come over and eat my ass. Those are the lyrics of the song. People don't know that. They only know the pina colada part.
You know what? They don't pay attention.
Come over and rim me.
So being in the scene and having this access through apps and such, are you enjoying that, or does it take away some of the, the chase of getting to know and blah blah blah?
I think it makes it a lot toxic because. Okay. You find someone that you're like, okay, well, this is a good-looking person. Yeah. They've got all these things. They check off every box, whatever that may be.
Cool.
And then you flip to the next person. You're like, this person is even better looking. So it's kind of like you develop in your mind like these unattainable standards.
Yeah.
And then, that person's good looking, but you're never going to land that person.
Because your first reaction is to their appearance. You're starting off with that. It's not starting off with a bio and going, oh, I like this bio, and then looking at like the picture afterwards and being like, I really liked what they had to say.
Yeah.
It's more so start there and then whatever underneath it.
But you can also just slide and find someone else. Slide and find someone else. If you're talking with someone, you don't have to put that much effort in, or you can say something that may put them off because you can just slide and find another one. And it's so easy to find them. But is it really? Because most of them do not turn out. And then we're not even going to talk about like bad dates and stuff, because I don't know how many times guys have shown up and they look like they've swallowed the people in the pictures that they've sent me.
You know what? That's
like full on, just like Kirby'd.
Just Kirby'd. As someone who has Kirby'd himself many times throughout the years.
Yeah, well, it happens.
A little bit of water retention after a bad binge. It happens. It happens. I'm sure one of these that I recorded, I was like, I looked on the scale by chance that day, and I was like, I think I'm like fucking like, holy shit. And that went away, and I was like, okay. Then I looked at the podcast, I was like, yeah, you look pretty fucking this is what it is. Now,
but then take an accurate recent picture. Why are you trying to sell me on something? I'm not going to expect you from 2009 to walk through the door.
That's exactly it. It's like if you want to put like, a selection of pictures, I'm sure, of
or what?
Different
use
scenarios,
pictures
whatever.
when you were overweight, before the weight loss, and then you walk in the door like a twig, and I'm like, hey, who is this beaut?
That is a great idea.
But like, it's not all about looks. There's
Right.
other things. There was like one guy, he did show up and he was a little bit, he looked a little bit different than he did in his pictures.
Okay.
But we talked and he was so nice and like a good listener
All right.
that I went on a second date with him.
Okay.
And then it was just 2 dates though. But he was like a therapist, and I was like, oh, I like that he listens to me. And then I was like, am I work?
Oh, are you just like a little I
don't like this.
You know, side project work or whatnot?
I don't like it.
I don't like this. Here we are, you know, talking about relationships and such. When you think about the idea of getting into a serious relationship,
Yeah.
what are the aspects of someone and the things that you've learned are goes and fuck knows?
I've learned that people really have no idea who I am from the outside.
Okay.
And for a long time, and this is like maybe a last 2-year discovery, I just thought people view me as a certain way, like someone who's like a loser, kind of stays in all the side, just does their own thing. People view me as like a party animal. I'm like, I'm here, I'm there, I'm doing things. Like, I'm not this person.
You know what? That's something that maybe from when we were first friends on like Facebook, you'd have like, you know, pictures of being a party person there. But like, I kind of feel like that's everybody on social media has that sort of thing, right? But like having known you instead, I didn't think that necessarily. But I can see how, you know, you post pictures of your fun times. You don't post pictures necessarily. Not you.
Like,
necessarily.
I know, but people are always like, oh, you have so many friends, you do this. I'm like,
Yeah.
I post those pictures like once a month.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, I'm talking about crying and masturbating.
Crasturbating, if you like.
No,
you know?
separately, not together.
Separately,
Because then it's like, what am I going to do with the rest of my day? I just split 2 things into one. Like, now I have so much time to kill. I'm going to kill myself. No, just kidding. Never kill yourself unless you want to.
All right. Well, how about the idea of, you know, raising a child in this world? Do you like the idea of,
so much
of raising a child and instilling what you've learned in life?
I wish I had a vagina. It
Yeah.
is.
You know what? But
People say,
Yeah.
do you know what they say about gay men?
Yeah.
They're like, this is being gay is a blessing because you cannot accidentally have children.
that is one
You can't
way.
just
I've never
fall
heard that.
upon-
That sounds
You can't just fall upon a baby.
Yeah. That's
That's a fact.
fair.
What if you're like, I don't know, say there's someone that you work with, you know, maybe like a little, or someone that's just attractive. You go out, you have drinks one night, you're both a little horny.
Yeah.
You go back, you have sex. Nobody has a condom, but you're both drunk. You don't even think about it. You could be pregnant from that moment.
Yeah.
That can never happen
That
to gay people.
is an aspect that I have not thought of, and I love that.
Yeah.
That makes it, you know, so much better for those who have chosen to want to raise life because the choice has
That's why I
truly
chose to be
been
gay.
made.
Because, like, do I miss beating the pussy up and down and all around? Perhaps a little bit, a tad, a smidgen.
A smidgen.
Yeah.
All right. So then, you know, when it comes to your relationships and bonding with people,
People
you know,
say that being gay is a choice. And they're right.
So how about this? When it comes to your relationships in general in life, would
Yeah.
there be friendships and such as well?
Yeah.
Have you had like a tight, close group of friends since you were a kid? Are you one to have kind of gone from group to group? Do you have a wide variety, or do you have a small, tight circle?
I have one friend.
Okay.
My mother.
All right.
And no, I from different aspects and different things.
Yes.
I have been able to retain certain friends.
Okay.
So like from grade school, I have one good friend. From high school, it's my best friend. From York, I have a couple good friends. From Butler, from each job as well, I have friends. Like when I was working at McDonald's, I still speak to some people.
Okay.
From Butler, from Sony Center, from each of my jobs,
Yeah.
I've been able to keep friends. And
Awesome.
like, I wouldn't even say like I have a group of friends, and then I do like the gay dodgeball on the side. I have friends from there as well.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily people that know each other because they're like 1 or 2 people from each dodgeball team, so they're all like kind of separate.
Yeah.
So like whenever I do have like a birthday party or something,
Yeah.
nobody really knows each other.
Okay.
But it's so funny
Yeah.
that whenever I do have a party or I have people together,
Yeah.
there's never been one fight between
All right.
my friends.
Yeah.
Because it's so weird. I'm always attracted to the same type of person.
Okay. So you got that same vibe going on where it's like, you know, good quality people who ain't gonna start shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
I'm
go.
the dramatic one.
As it is. Or need any other fuckers around to take away from my drama. Well, let's talk about your drama.
Drama is my thing.
Let's
And
talk
if you
about
try
your
to
drama.
Take it away from me, I will kill myself.
On the subject of killing yourself.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your mental
It comes
health.
up way too often.
How is your mental health nowadays, especially with everything that's going on?
If there is a line, I am here. And this is my toe.
If your mic was like a genie lamp and you had 3 wishes, brother,
Yeah.
what would you wish for if you had 3 wishes?
Money.
Money to start.
Yeah.
That's fair and understandable. From there, what else?
I don't know.
Because
that would take care of all my issues.
Okay, there you go. I like the honesty.
I would like no more arthritis. That would be freaking lovely, and no more asthma. Let's get rid of the health, all health issues. This is just me, right?
Okay.
Because if it was family, like obviously there's shit.
I like that. You do it for you, and how about this? Give yourself one random fucking piece of something that you're like, I would never buy that, but I'd buy it if I could for a wild wish.
Anything that I've
like, are you a big like car person, or are you a big like property person? Do you like the idea of this and that? Like what sort of extravagant?
Because if you buy a big property, you have to clean it. I can barely keep my 1-bedroom condo clean. I'm like, when you have like what's it called? The poopy stain on the toilet, skid mark. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'll get it tomorrow.
Oh no.
Because I'm tired.
Because you're tired.
And that is the way it is.
All right, that is.
And I just do not care that much.
All right, well let's go for what you do care about.
Oh, I would get rid of my lisp.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a great wish. Actually, I hate it. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still pretty bad. I'm not Miley Cyrus.
I wouldn't. If someone asked me if you had a lisp, I wouldn't notice.
Yeah. And it's not the lisp that made me gay. It was being gay that gave me the lisp.
that lisp sort of thing is that I've grown up with myself and other people around me having like their speech change for different reasons.
Yeah.
For me, it was my wisdom teeth growing in, and the way they came on the sides made like my mouth just do something different, and I didn't get them removed until later, and just kind of made me sound like I had marbles in my mouth when I talked. And what happened is it went to Butler as well. Is that people would talk to me and go, "Where are you from?" There's no way you're from Toronto. Like that happened at Butler plenty of times.
That's hilarious.
Also thought about the idea of like how when people don't know you and you put on a joke perception of who you are to somebody and it's their first Butler shift and they walk up to the bar and I'm like, I'm alright. You just kind of give this weird and then you go back to normal and then you realize that person you haven't seen them and then you see them like 2 weeks later and they're like, hey Kyle, how's it going?
Oh, what?
Oh, fuck. But let's bring it back to, shit that you do care about. Let's talk about gratitude.
Okay.
Gratitude in your life, especially in times like these, whatever the fuck. What you grateful for? What do you take the time to really...
Friends.
Friends,
family.
Okay.
I remember, when I started freaking out, I was like, I'm not going to have money. I'm not going to be able to afford I'm going to have to move back home. And my parents were like, if you want us to live on your own, we'll financially support you.
Nice.
Which is not something that I've ever had to ask for.
Yeah.
Like, I did OSAP for school.
Okay.
And then I paid it all off. I did not ask for money from my parents. If they were to give it to me, I would have accepted. It was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did not have a sugar daddy.
Yeah.
If anybody would like to be mine, feel free to apply within. But I never asked them for anything, and they just offered, and they were like, if you want to come home for a bit, you can move back home. I was like, this is great. My friends would check in on me when lockdown started. I was the last one to feel the lockdown because I still had a job, I think, of Butler. Maybe I was close to about 100 or so servers that had just lost their jobs and had nothing, no prospect, no nothing.
Yeah.
And we're kind of all in it together.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of us that had other jobs and we're pretty lucky for that reason. But everybody else was just they went through it right away. Even before Butler shut down because they had stopped receiving shifts. Events were just getting canceled like crazy. I remember the last 2 weeks, I ended up working maybe 2 or 3 events because the rest were all just canceled.
Yeah. I can only imagine how that, that trickling effect of it starting. Because I was out of the country when this all started. And I wasn't with Butler at the time either. And I wasn't really with my...
You come and go.
I came and go, and after the previous September, I had a longer extension of not being there. So I didn't really get any of that taste of what happened when things started to go for the hospitality industry. Because the friends who I have being in the bars and such like that, it kind of slowly started to trickle. And because I'm not social at all, I don't actually go out anywhere anymore. I didn't notice it for myself. But yeah, having having so many people and friends of yours going through that at the same time, I mean... to be grateful of your friends and family during those hard times, they're what matters most. Yeah. I'd find, when you take money out of the equation and you realize that you're fucked, what you gonna do?
I had friends who were like, if you need this or if you need a meal, if you need any money, I'm there for you, which was amazing. I've always been someone who like craved independence, and that's why. Remember earlier, this is continuity. It's going to come full circle.
Here we go.
WWE. You can learn from me and my stories. Remember I mentioned traditionally like Jewish people stay in the family home until they get married, and then that's when they move out.
Yep.
I've always wanted to break free. When I was 16, my birthday fell on Labor Day, so the office to go get your driver's license was closed. The day after, I went and I got my license, and I started my graduating. I got my G1, and then I had my G2 and my G. Right on time, I was out. So like by the time I was 16 and a half, I had my full license.
Okay.
When I was 7 or 8, I used to take my bike in the mornings, ride down to like the local strip mall.
Okay.
Go into the convenience store, pick up some things.
Yeah.
Like I remember like picking up like a Scorpio mug for my mom because that's her sign. I get like lollipops, like, and then I'd go to the bakery, say hello. There's a bakery. It was Isaac's Bakery. The lady at the front, she was like this tall woman. Everybody called her Stretch. I'd be like, "Morning, Stretch. How are you?"
I'm on this little journey with you. Keep on going.
I'd get a bagel, chocolate milk, and I'd go sit and eat it in the park. And then when the pool opened up, like the lifeguards, me and my sister would go back to the pool. Like I'd ride my bike back home, bring them like little lollipops that I picked up in the convenience store and stuff like that. And like, I just been like one to take off and go. And like they had like classes and stuff. I would go to those.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just like very independent from a young age.
I relate to that very much. So yeah.
But I've always been trying to search to separate myself, and I don't know why that is exactly. But like even in the mornings when my family was asleep, I'm the first person up. I'm like I would wake up at like 7 a.m. and watch TSN.
I remember those days.
So people are like, do you actually watch sports? No, at that point I didn't, but I knew everything about like baseball, like all the stats.
I watched TSN before I actually got into sports as well. Like I enjoyed Sports Center more so than actual sports. I got the highlights. I got some funny jokes. Here we go.
What was the channel that became big after TSN?
Sportsnet.
Yeah. I remember when that became.
Fuck that
like,
shit. I loved. What was it? Darren Detition. Was it fucking Jay and Dan?
He's bipolar, eh?
Is he?
He was the thing at the MTCC one year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was great.
I got into.
He has that melted candle thing, you know, like Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
No.
Like when you hold them melted, they look like they're facing. They're like just not holding up as well as they could.
I like baseball and I liked sports as a kid, and I enjoyed like this and that. I remember like being next door when the fucking when the Blue Jays won and how my mom jumped up and that whole experience, and I loved playing sports and such. But like at a later age, as I got into like say video games and comics, I preferred to read and listen to music and do that than to spend a few hours watching a whole baseball game, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden when I got I didn't have cable for a while, but when we got cable again, it was like, oh shit, turning that on, it was like, oh, it's all the sports, it's all the best parts, and there's some jokes in between.
Yeah.
This is great.
The highlights.
Yeah, it's the only thing I miss about having TV.
You know that I'm psychic?
I did not know this, but you should have known that I didn't know this.
Psychic. No, I'm not that psychic. Right. It's not like that. It's I get sometimes I don't know. Have you ever had to make a hard decision or like something happens quick and you're like, I'm gonna go with this? Your gut's telling you to do something?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a psychic intuition. Everybody has it, but if you're not in touch with it and you don't listen to it, then it's useless. Also, if you ignore it, it goes away.
Yeah.
The more you listen to it, the more prevalent it becomes in your life.
Well, there's different ways to look at it. I completely hear what you're saying there. This idea of the three minds of your mind, your heart, and your gut. That gut feeling, that microbiome, the whole feeling from the gut and that feeling from the heart, and that this and that. I do believe in that for sure.
Okay, so let me tell you what happened.
Yes, please.
We were going to work one day. It was me and I guess we won't mention the name out of privacy, whatever.
Sure.
She wouldn't care.
Yeah.
We're going to work one day with I'm going to meet a colleague there. We both start at like 10 o'clock, whatever. So we wake up, start getting going. It's like 8:45. She messages me. So the first thing I see in the morning is this text message from my colleague, and it says, "My grandmother died last night." I mean, your first response is, "Oh my God, so sorry." Mm-hmm. And then I started getting a feeling like I don't think she did die.
Okay. Okay.
So I text it right back. It's right there. It's like right afterwards. It says, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are you sure?"
Yeah.
And as I was getting in the shower and stuff, I was like, I really don't think she died. I got a message, and I know the feeling of who it was.
Yeah.
Because it's the same message, same feeling that I used to get around that person when she was alive, when I was hanging with her.
Okay.
Do you ever feel that, like when you're with people, you have a different vibe? Mm-hmm. Say you're with a really hot girl, you're like, You're happy.
Different
You're
vibes.
with someone older, like a grandparent. You're going to be like a little bit more subdued. They've got that energy, right?
Unless you're into that sort of thing.
No. Let's say your own grandparent.
Unless you're into that sort of thing.
You know how you know how they smell.
Yeah.
You know how people, they give off vibes, they give off smells, everything.
Yeah.
I had that vibe and smell as I was in the shower getting ready for my day.
Okay.
So I didn't get anything back from her after I asked, "Are you sure?" And then I was in the car on the way to work, and then I saw 2 messages, and obviously I couldn't respond because I was driving.
Yeah.
And when I got to work, it said, "Thanks." Because I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." But then I said, "Are you so sure?" She said, "Thanks. My mom and uncle are estranged, and he left a really weird voicemail, so she's calling the home to make sure. So sad." And then when I got to work, it said, I got another text that said, "Wow, turns out she's still alive. My mom called the home." So right away I said, I asked if you were sure. Oh, sorry. I asked if you were sure.
Okay.
Marianne.
So the thing is that when I read
I knew it. I felt it in my bones.
And I love that, but when I read that initially right now, I got 2 laughs.
Okay.
Because the initial one was my grandma died, and that's sad. And then when I read the initial "Are you sure?" I thought you were just being a good old fashioned fucking dick. And be like,
No.
"Are you sure your mom died?" I'd be like, "Is she dead? Are you sure?"
Who would do that?
I know. I thought you would. That's why I loved it.
But when she showed up to work, she was in shock. She turned to me and she was like, "How? Why would you say something like that?" And I was like, I just had a feeling. She's like, "Okay, completely understand, and I like that you went with it. Like, it makes sense because I've had talks with this person before about my psychic intuitions."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I get it, but like going forwards, when somebody says that their grandmother passed away, even if you have that feeling, don't say, 'Are you sure?'" And I was like, "Okay, I completely understand." I just felt really strongly about it, and it's like, it's a big gamble.
Yeah.
It's a big gamble to say, "Are you sure she's?"
When
When someone tells you, no, don't. When someone tells you someone died, you should not question it.
No.
That is, the odds are not ever in your favor.
Not really. Like,
But-
I think my, so and so may have died.
Tell me I did not come through. I came through. And then she turned to me and she said, when I read, "Are you so sure?" I was eased a little bit.
Okay.
And you can ask her. Like, you can message her after this. You can contact her.
Yeah.
She's alive. You know her. You can
Yeah.
Facebook her.
Yeah.
You can Instagram her.
Yep.
She would love to hear. She's very bored right now. And she was like, it put me at ease a little bit.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I'm glad that I could do that for you because, and that's the other thing is if you do believe in yourself and you believe in like the message and the message that's being sent to you and whoever is sending you the message, then you're more willing to go with it.
All right, let's wrap it up, brother. I've had a fucking great time.
Yeah.
Sitting here with you.
It's midnight.
You know what? It is whatever time it is. I don't give a shit. I've had so much fun. Anybody watching this, you'll see this man here again, whether it be more wrestling talk, which I'm sure anybody who fucking tuned into this did not expect all the wrestling talk. But this has been a beautiful emotional roller coaster and plenty of fun. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
All right, that's what it's about. Thank you everybody for watching. If anybody's watching, all right? Much love, buddy.
Hi, Mom! Disgusting thing.
You know what? Let's
If
talk
I
into
told
that.
you things
Give me
about
more.
my life, you would be shocked.
Give me more. Give the people more. What's the most disgusting, putrid experience you've had when it comes to
Oh my God, I have no idea.
something
Disgusting.
self-deprecating for yourself, perhaps?
Oh, feel-
Something fun that way. Because I'm always down with sharing. Like I think I mentioned whatever. I've had enough stories where I like to show my true colors. Is there anything you'd like to share in regards to that? Thank you.